Right, okay? So given the graph, what inequality are you going to be using? So honestly, not super duper 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 hard. So if you really just pay attention, you'll get it. Like it's one of the easier ones, especially after last week. It should be easier than last week. Okay, so we're gonna start off with the graph. So you're gonna draw a number line, right? And we're gonna put 9 in the middle, and then two numbers below the 9, so 8 and 7. Two numbers above would be 10 and 11. And we're gonna add a closed circle on the number 9. And then we're gonna shade to the left. We're gonna shade to the left. Okay. So copy this down. What else are you doing, right? I mean, unless you're, guardians, parents, grandparents, aunts and uncles are making you like mop the floors right now, or wash the dishes, or wash everybody's clothes. This is your job right now. This is what you're doing right now. Nothing else. No excuses. You're writing this down. All right. So I want you to write down the inequality. What does that mean? I want you to write down like what we did last week. Like these are inequalities, like the problem. So we're looking for this or this, we're looking for the inequalities. So this would be our answer for today, these type of answers. So this is the easiest way to do it. So pay attention. The easiest way to do this is start with the letter X. You're going to start with your variable. I like using X. So always start with the variable X. Now, look at where the circle is. There it is. What number is a circle on? Oh, the number is 9. So you're going to use that. So wherever your circle is, that number is the number you're going to use. Okay? So far are we okay? You always start with your X. And then you're always going to put the number where the circle is. Okay, the number is 9, so I'm going to put the number 9. Okay? Now, here comes the hard, not really hard, next step. Do you remember the shortcut I showed you guys last week where this points in the direction that you have to shade, remember? So look, what I just did there in red, that right there, ladies and gentlemen, is your inequality that you're going to use. So wherever you're, if this is pointing to the left, here is my inequality right there. So this inequality I just drew in red, I'm going to write it down here. So this inequality just transfers over to there. Okay? Now, one last step. Because it's shaded in and closed, what do I have to add to this inequality? I have to add a little tiny little line, the equal to part. And ladies and gentlemen, this is our answer. That is it. So this is the graph, and this is the inequality that goes with it. And that's it. All right, let's try one more. It's really easy, guys. It's super easy, especially if you know the shortcut. So let's do a negative number line. Let's put negative 25 right in the middle. So what are the two numbers that go right below? Right below negative 25?
24 and 23.
No! The opposite. Remember, it's the negative land. So 24 would be here and 23 would be here. Remember, 0 is somewhere like over here, right? So we got to put these numbers that are actually bigger over here, right? The zeros over here. This would actually be negative 26, and this would be negative 27. Be very careful with the negatives. They're in the world of backwards. Okay? I'm going to have an open circle, and I'm going to shade to the right. Shade to the right. Now, remember. Always start with the variable x, or whatever variable you want to use. Always start with your variable. Then the number that you use is the number where the circle is. So the circle is on top of the number negative 25. So I'm going to use the number negative 25. So wherever your circle is, that's the number that you use. Okay? Now you look at the shade. Look at the shade. And okay, look, I'm going to draw my arrow. It's pointing that way. It's pointing to the right. The fact that I did this little arrow right here pointing to the right is the inequality I'm going to use. Literally the one I just drew right there, transfer it over. The last thing you have to do is check, is it an open or closed circle? It's an open circle, so therefore I don't add the little line. No need, because this is an open circle, okay? And since it's an open circle, I don't put the extra line on it. Are we okay? Are we following along? I told you it wasn't not going to be very hard at all, especially if you follow the shortcuts. Shortcuts is point in the direction that you're shading. Okay, I'm pointing to the right. Boom, there's my inequality. Pointing to the left. Boom, there's my inequality. Because it's closed, I'm going to add that little line at the end. Super easy, I hope. Okay. Let's do one. Draw a number line. I'm going to put 18 in the middle. 2 numbers below it. And 2 numbers above it, please. Try to finish that before I do. Two numbers above, 2 numbers below. Okay. So hopefully you did 17, 16, 19, 20. All right. Now we're going to have a closed circle and shade to the right. So can you write the inequality before I do? Let's see if you guys can write the inequality before I do. And this inequality, again, starts with the variable x. Where is the circle? Where is the circle? The circle is on the number 18. The circle is on the number 18. So that's the number I'm going to use. The circle's on 18. I'm going to use 18. Now I'm going to see where my inequality points to. Oh, it's pointing to the right. Look at me. I'm just tracing it over. That is my inequality right there. Copy it over. Now, because it's a closed circle, I'm going to add this extra little line, okay? Because that right there means it's closed. And right there, it's closed. So because it's shaded, because it's colored in, we close it, we call it a closed circle, and that little tiny line tells us that it's closed. If it didn't have that extra little line, that equal to part, then we would not have that line, Okay, that little line means it's shaded, it's closed. All right, any questions so far? Okay, so